Hello everyone, welcome to Rainbow Infinity. Today I'll be reading Snow Quill's Of Rocks and Gems. If you like the reading, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please enjoy. The Strength of a Gem. I like to study the rocks in the dirt. Ponies called me weird and it hurt. So I turned my heart to stone and got used to being alone. Maud set down the pen, blinking thoughtfully at the page. She wasn't usually so verbose in her poetry, and certainly not when the subject wasn't rocks, but newfound inspiration had pushed her out of her comfort zone. Slowly, she raised her head and looked to the corner, where her muse and mare friend sat and sewed. It was strange to think she had a mare friend, and an even stranger turn of events that brought the two of them together, sharing a quiet evening in. Rarity seemed to sense her gaze and glanced over her shoulder, a delicately raised eyebrow asking if everything was okay. Maud felt her lips curl in the smallest of smiles, and her head dip in the slightest of nods. She always moved slowly, deliberately, not wanting to waste energy on big movements. Other ponies didn't understand it, and certainly didn't understand her. For the longest time, it seemed like Pinkie would be the only pony to truly understand her, to have the love and patience to watch for the small motions and know what they meant. Maud had made peace with this fact. As long as she had her sister and family, she didn't need anyone else. That was, of course, until Rarity. Rarity, who could glance at a precious gem and intimately know all its flaws and qualities. Rarity, whose attention to detail meant every piece of fabric graced by her hoof was made into an absolutely, meticulously perfect dress. Rarity, who loved social gatherings just as much as a quiet evening, humming along to her sewing machine and simply living in the moment. And ponies wondered why Maud loved her. Rarity smiled and returned to her work, Maud watching her for a minute more before returning to her journal. She flipped the page and, feeling an odd strike of inspiration, began to draw. The pen started with long, graceful lines that formed a neck, and came up to meet shorter ones that created a muzzle, finished with a lovely smile. Then it drifted upwards, drawing small curls that rose into a magnificent horn on her forehead. It dipped down a bit, with delicate arches forming lashes that framed the lines that became her eyes, the pen pausing on the page as Maud regretted the ink that was black instead of blue. With a slight shake of the head, the pen moved on, to sweeping lines that weaved to and fro and formed a mane, coming together at the ends in the large curls of her signature style. And finally, the pen rose once more to bring to view soft-looking ears that heard nearly everything and enjoyed being nuzzled. Maud set the pen to the side and considered the paper. She blinked in sluggish surprise as her heart began to beat a touch faster, and an invisible blush warmed her cheeks. It wasn't the first time Rarity had created this odd storm of warmth and butterflies in her, but it was the first time that it wasn't from Rarity teasing her. It was strange to think that a simple drawing, a collection of lines on a page, could create such feelings. She mused that it was just another power of Rarity, to be the kind of pony that just demanded attention, whether she was walking into a room or captured on the page. Other ponies might call her a shining star, and if Maud were prone to such figures of speech, she would agree with them. Her lips twitched into a small frown. No, Rarity wasn't a shining star. If anything, she would be a gem. Of course, she was more than a collection of minerals, brought together by specific conditions, to create an objectively pretty rock, but it was interesting to consider. Maud glanced over at Rarity and tilted her head ever so slightly, contemplating the analogy and allowing herself to ponder it further. If Rarity was a gem, most ponies would say that she was a sapphire, based on her eyes and cutie mark, and while Maud could appreciate that reasoning, she felt Rarity was a sapphire for a different, far simpler reason: her strength. Certainly, Rarity could be emotional and dramatic, but Maud knew that when it came down to it, Rarity could be counted on to face danger and adversity head-on, whether that danger was of a magical monster variety or the fashion industry. Rarity was strong in ways most didn't expect or know about, which only solidified the hypothetical comparison of a sapphire to pony. Using the Mohs scale of mineral hardness, sapphires were ranked the third hardest substance, just below diamonds and moissanite. They were also versatile, used in both pretty jewelry and practical items like windows. Maud slowly blinked as the blush from earlier crept along her cheeks. She liked practical, strong things. She rose from the floor with all the speed of a snail sliding along a slick river rock and crossed the room. Rarity's ears perked as Maud drew close, and she turned off her sewing machine to face her. Rarity blushed as she recognized the intense look of longing in those beautiful teal eyes. "Is everything all right, Maud?" "I've been thinking about you, and it's making me feel funny. I want to kiss you." Rarity giggled at the deadpan delivery, knowing better than to let Maud's tone lessen the impact of her words. "Oh, darling, you truly know how to make a mare feel special." The hitch in Maud's breath was almost imperceivable, but Rarity was listening for it. She smiled and leaned over to kiss the stoic earth pony. "I like to study the rocks and the dirt. You came along and helped heal the hurt. You polished my heart into a gem from stone, and now I never again have to be alone." Thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Until next time, stay tuned.